So I tell people I am the gay dating coach because that's who I work with. I work with the gays, and I teach gay men how to date, how to flirt, how to navigate relationships. I'm also a matchmaker. So guys say, hey, Lamont, I want you to find me great guys and the love of my life. Like, find them. So I literally scour the world looking for clients for my for my matchmaking clients. So I love doing that. I have a weird background as a therapist in public health. So I got into this work because I really wanted to teach gay men how to find love. And I love it. Like, this is my ministry and my calling.
There are a lot of Black gay men, especially who are just burnt out with the dating scene. What are some of the biggest barriers when it comes to finding a suitable mate for Black gay men?
Black gay men, we still do deal with like not knowing how to date. They just don't know how to put themselves out there in the right way. So I think dating apps could be a great place for guys to meet. Just do it the right way. I think also sometimes we as gay men, particularly Black gay men, we have not had role models.
Yes.
How to gay men navigate relationships. So we bump our head trying to figure this thing out. So I say it's okay. You can make mistakes. We should, as gay men, see therapists. We should see dating coaches so that we can learn some of those things that some of the other folks, they got taught a long time ago.
And you brought up about being taught as Black gay men, you know, what dating and relationships look like. We need to scale that back to mom and them. Because, you know, they still got some hangups when it comes to sex and relationships. So how does that impact us? That one layer with straight folks, how does that layer also affect Black gay men?
You don't have to mirror what the straight people do, okay? Half the time it's not working for them anyway. So as gay men, you get to create your own narrative about like how your relationship works. What are the dynamics between you, your boyfriend, your husband, whatever you want to call them, your partner? You two make it up about what your agreements are and how to love each other. Like, so don't try to be like the straights. There can be two men in a relationship. There can be two women in a relationship, and you can be healthy that way.
Sometimes even when it's two women in a relationship, that's still two men, but I'm gonna leave that alone.
You said it, not me.
I mean, come on now. So, okay, we go for more superficial things like the way that somebody looks, or how big their dick is, or how big their ass is, or how good the sex is. How important is it to put that aside when looking for a suitable mate?
This is not my opinion. This is the data, right? Gay men, we look for some level of attractiveness. And that could mean, you know, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So it could be someone who's really slim, someone's really big, someone's light, dark. No, we look for some level of attractiveness. Like, are you taking care of yourself? So I think that's fine. I don't think you should like say, oh, I'm going to date someone I'm not drawn to. Yes. I think you should be more open-minded when it comes to beauty. So it shouldn't just be like beauty only looks one way. That's where it's going to trap you. I think also gay men look for some level of independence. So can you financially take care of yourself? Gay men also look for some level of masculinity. Don't kill me. I'm just saying they like a little bit of trade in there, okay? And sexual compatibility is key. So two bottoms, that's just like, it's not really gonna work unless you're inviting the third, or you get a dildo where it says two heads and y'all going at that thing, okay?
Well, so what if one of them is more of an aggressive bottom than the other one?
It depends on the person. Some gay men are like, hey, if my partner bottoms, I'm no longer attracted to him. Like, they get turned off because one, it might be some internalized homophobia where it's like, oh, well, you got penetrated, so, you know, I don't get turned on anymore. Or it's just something that they're just not desiring. So I think sexual compatibility is key when you're dating to make sure it's a good fit. So you got to talk about things and explore, because you might be surprised at what you actually like.
And let me tell you, some of them bottoms, when you turn that light out, and not just the bottoms, the femboys, they get aggressive. When you turn the light out, you be like, hold on, wait a minute. Who let Rick Ross in this room?
Like, you didn't scratch me with these nails.
You know, the acrylic be all on the back of your head. They be holding your face down in the pillow. But we're gonna leave that alone. We don't want to scare
You're
the
giving
people.
P-Valley over here, okay?
So, okay, let's talk about dating and courting. You know, us older folks, we talk about the importance of courting. Why is courting, taking the time to really get to know somebody you're dating, important?
You don't want to end up in a relationship with someone you do not know. So courting means you literally take each other out, you get to know each other, you find out what their interests are, you find out what some of their passions might be. You flirt, you touch, like you do all that so you can build chemistry so that you get to know the person. And dating may take 3, 6, 8 months before you actually get into a relationship. Yeah. And it's okay to date multiple people at the same time.
Oh, all right. Now,
multiple people, not a basketball team, but like 2 or 3. It's okay to do that.
Well, some of these folks out here dating a basketball stadium, but we're gonna leave that alone.
That's screwing. That's not dating. Okay.
Well, you know, let's talk about that real quick. We need definitions. What's the difference between dating and screwing?
So here's the thing. If he only talks to you after 9 o'clock and on the weekends, y'all just screwing. Okay. If he doesn't take you out to a date, like to get something to eat, to go bowling, rock climbing, you just talking. If you haven't met the family or friends, you're not dating.
Compromise. How important is compromise when it comes to finding a mate?
Certain things I think you can compromise. Other things, like if you have non-negotiables, like if you're like, I need someone who actually lives in my state, or I need someone who is financially stable. Like there are certain things, like if you value religion or faith, you want that in your relationship. Other things can be a little bit more, you can blur the lines, but find out what your core is, and then everything else, be a little bit more open-minded. You can be going on dates every day of the week. Like if you just open up a little bit more, and to find Mr. Right, you have to go on dates. So you have to date different types of guys and not just this narrowly focused type of guy.
How scandalous is sex on the first date? Will that ruin things?
I had sex with my husband on the first date.
Hey, come on now.
We had to make sure the energy was there, okay? So your mama might not have told you to do that, but whatever. I think it's about your relationship with sex. If sex is something that you reserve for marriage or for like a long-term commitment or 12 months, stick to that. Other people are a little bit more flexible when it comes to sex.
What are some other blockages that you think Black gay men have to get over, whether it be mental health, whether it become overcoming, some of the, I think the right word is inhibitions about sex. What are those and how should we navigate those best?
Yeah, so one of the things, Sampson, I tell my straight friends this, but we as gay men, we are always coming out of the closet.
Yeah.
Like, it's a daily thing. It's something we'll have to do until we die. So it is always something of making sure that we're more comfortable with who we are. So like in new environments, you have to say, oh, well, this is who I'm dating. And the people, they have these long drawn out questions about you as a gay man, right? And sometimes that translates into your relationships where you may not want to be forthcoming with who you are, what type of sex you like, what type of relationship you want, because we have been taught that it is shameful. And we have been taught as men not to express our emotions. We have been taught as gay men to put each little thing in its own separate container instead of just melding it together so we can just be a whole individual. So that shit shows up in gay men's lives as a journey. So therapy is always key to help you to be more of a whole person so that when you get into a relationship, it is as healthy as possible.
So 2 questions. Mm-hmm. Some people have some reservations about therapy. If it's somebody who maybe they don't want to go to therapy, what are some other practices that they can implement to their daily routines? And then secondly, getting to these healthy relationships as Black gay men, what do those look like?
If you don't want to see a therapist, maybe you go see your spiritual guide, or maybe you might want to do yoga, maybe you might want to do a life coach. But I do think working with a trained professional, whoever that is, will benefit someone. Just like you go to the gym to
Yes.
get abs, to get muscles, you can go do it all on your own, right? And hurt yourself, right? You're doing too much, you're lifting too much. But if you had a trainer, even if they just train you for a week, you develop some skills to lift weights. Same thing with a therapist or a counselor. So you want to do that. I think it's key.
How do we identify healthy relationships? And say we've been stuck in maybe toxic patterns. How do we identify those?
Yeah, so you have to learn like why you attract certain type of people. Like, does that guy remind you of your father, your uncle, your mother? And so you're used to some of that unhealthy relationships. You're like, oh yeah, I know this is toxic, but it's familiar, right?
Yeah.
So it's you have to identify that, one. And then two, trying to date different guys that make you feel good about yourself. If you leave the presence of the guy that you're dating and you're always feeling bad about yourself, that is not the type of relationship that you want to be in. If you feel like it's always combative, or you have to be right or argue, listen, that's toxic, that's red flags. You need to just move on.
Some of the folks are used to these relationships where they got to call up the girls and go cut some tires and bust some windows.
I'm too old for that. I'm too old for that.
What about that sexually turns folks on though?
Yeah, so there's an energy that some people like, where like there's an argument and then afterwards there's great sex, right?
Yeah.
It's this whole adrenaline rush. That's unhealthy, toxic behavior that can get you murdered, in jail, a horrible relationship. You can do some role play if you just want to get, that type of energy. Like, babe, let's just role play. Like, there's no need to do that. But people have been taught, like from childhood or from other relationships, that is normal, and it is not. It is not. It's not healthy for you.
Last question for Black gay men who have given up on love. What is your advice?
Do not give up. Like, dating is a journey, right? And a part of that journey, there's going to be rejection. There's going to be disappointments. You should expect that. You do not want to get weary. I would say maybe take a couple weeks off, do some meditating, get yourself back together, but don't give up, because at the end of the journey, it is worth it. There are a lot of, I'll tell my business, there are a lot of guys that I dated before I got to my husband. There are a lot of guys that rejected me before I got to my husband, but I'm happy that those instances occurred, because I would have never met him. So it is definitely worth it. And I work with gay men all over the United States. Name of my business is Better Way to Meet. So you go to betterwaytomeet.com. You can see dating coaching, matchmaking, but also on Wednesday, I do a crazy show called Shoot Your Shot Wednesdays on Instagram. So if you gotta watch it. It's for singles, the couples, they watch all the time. Just follow my page on Instagram. It's The Gay Dating Coach.